Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a request that came straight from you, one of our listeners.
Yeah, you sent us some sources about the song Married to the Bag by Shotgun Willie.
Exactly. And we've got basically two main things to work with here.
Right, some excerpts from the YouTube transcript of the music video and also the Genius Lyrics page for the song itself.
So our mission for this deep dive, it's pretty straightforward. We want to get right to the core of this song.
Understand the main message. Pick out the specific details, the imagery.
And also get some of that context around like when it came out. And we're sticking strictly to the material you sent us.
So yeah, let's get into it. Let's unpack this whole idea of being married to the bag. It's quite a statement.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Because right off the bat, that chorus, it really hits you with this central concept.
It's not subtle.
No, it's not about marrying a person. It's the bag. And the lyrics make it super clear. The bag is slang, right? For money, wealth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's framed like this huge commitment, like a lifelong thing, but directed at, riches, not romance.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how far the lyrics go with that comparison. They really lean into the wedding stuff.
Oh, totally. It's not just mentioned, it's described. You've got lines like, got down on my knees, say, will you marry me?
Yeah, and walking down the aisle.
With this kiss, she'll be my bride. It's like they're actually staging a wedding ceremony, but, for cash.
It completely flips the script on those traditional wedding images, doesn't it?
It really does. And as soon as that kind of vow is made in the song, the lyrics immediately show you what that commitment actually involves. And, no big surprise, it's all about the money.
Yeah, shocker. It's just relentless after that point.
Exactly. The sources are just packed with lines about focusing on finance. You see stuff like all about the doughboy.
Right, and my money green, very visual.
Yeah, and talking about scale, like getting to the M's.
Yeah.
That's millions, obviously.
And then it's stated so plainly, married to my pockets and profit. That's like the thesis statement right there.
It is. And it keeps going. All I care about, cash flow.
And emphasizing it's ongoing. Still getting that bag, though.
Yeah, it's not like a one-time thing. And there's that feeling of, never having enough. Even with success, there's that line.
The little piece of the pie, I'm gonna need more.
That's the one. It's not just about getting a bag. It's the constant chase, the piling it up.
And the lyrics don't just, talk about money abstractly. They paint pictures of the lifestyle.
Right. Specific examples, like walk around looking like Scrooge McDuck. That's a pretty strong image, right? Swimming in coins.
Definitely. And then mentioning specific luxuries, diamonds and pearls.
That supposedly every girl in the world wants.
Yeah.
Bit of a generalization there, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a bit. And then travel flying first class to the 305.
Which is Miami, right?
Yeah, Miami area code, so somewhere warm, expensive. And then also a beach in Dubai.
Plus drinking Casamigos. That's a known brand.
Yeah.
Kind of upscale tequila.
These aren't just vague symbols of wealth. They're pretty specific status markers.
And there's also this, intense possessiveness that comes through sometimes.
You mean the Finding Nemo line?
Yeah. Mine, 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 mine. It sounds almost like primal or childish.
Yeah.
Just laying absolute claim to the money.
So, okay, besides the money theme and the wedding metaphor, the lyrics are also just dense with other references.
Yeah.
Cultural stuff.
Totally. It's like a rapid fire list.
Yeah.
Some are pretty common, like Pillsbury or the Big Bad Wolf.
Right, everyday things, but then it jumps.
Yeah, it jumps to more specific pop culture, like Ice Stone Cold, Steve Austin.
Wrestling. Then Majin from Dragon Ball.
Anime. Starfire and Robin from Teen Titans.
Cartoons, superheroes.
And then Elon Musk, tech billionaire. It's this wild mix, cartoons, wrestling, tech, fairy tales, all crammed together.
It's a lot. And then there's that one line that really stands out because it's so aggressive.
Oh, yeah. Tell McFerrin he can fucking die.
The sources don't give us any clue who McFerrin is or why there's beef there.
No context at all.
But it definitely grabs your attention. Adds this raw, maybe confrontational edge.
For sure. And speaking of edge, the overall tone that comes through these lyrics is pretty strong, too.
Oh, yeah. Definitely boastful. About the money, the success.
Super materialistic, obviously. That's kind of the point. And there's this strong vibe of confidence, maybe bordering on arrogance.
Yeah, I could see that. Lines like, eat my dust, or that if you ain't in first, then you last, ho line.
Right, very competitive, kind of dismissive.
Even the bit about, my bitch call me an asshole, it doesn't really feel like he's sorry about it.
No, it feels more like reinforcing this tough guy, unapologetic image that's tied into this money chase.
Like it's all part of the package. Being focused purely on the bag comes with this particular attitude.
Exactly. It all seems to feed into that identity.
Okay, so we've dug pretty deep into the lyrics themselves, the themes, the references, the tone, all based on those YouTube and Genius excerpts.
Right. But now let's bring in those factual bits, specifically from the Genius source you sent. Context can really change things.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes the backstory adds a whole new layer. What does Genius tell us?
Okay, so it confirms the basics. Title, Married to the Bag. Production, SMLE.
Yeah.
Written by Shotgun Willie himself. Standard stuff.
Important context, though. Good to have.
Yeah. And it gives us the release date, August 26th, 2022.
Okay, 2022.
And it says it's track 2 on a project, maybe an album, called Bombs Away, which apparently also dropped on that same date.
Got it. Bombs Away, August 2022.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The Genius notes mention something that could, seriously reframe how we hear the whole song.
Oh, what's that?
It says the song was originally called Wait For It, Till Debt Do Us Apart.
Whoa, seriously, till debt do us apart.
Yeah, not death, debt.
Okay, hold on. That changes the whole vibe, doesn't it?
Massively, right?
We just spent all this time talking about this intense marriage to the bag, the getting rich, the luxury, the mine.
The total commitment.
And that original title just throws a huge condition on it, a vulnerability, a potential breaking point for this whole marriage.
It completely flips the script on that unconditional feeling of married to the bag.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the union seems like it only lasts as long as the money's there.
Right, the marriage holds, but only until debt potentially tears them apart.
It makes the whole relationship with wealth seem purely transactional and maybe pretty precarious.
Yeah, fragile even. It's not about love or values. It's purely about keeping the bag full and keeping debt away. Debt is the enemy of this marriage.
Wow. Yeah, that adds a whole layer of pressure or instability under the surface of all the boasting.
Definitely. What else did the Genius source say?
Just a couple more things. It mentions a snippet was posted on Instagram stories way back in April 2022.
Okay, so building some hype before the release?
Seems like it. And it confirms the genres as rap and pop rap, which, fits.
Yeah, that makes sense given everything we've seen in the lyrics.
So let's try and pull all this together for you, the listener who sent this in.
Okay. We've got this intense marriage metaphor using all the wedding language.
Paired with this relentless focus on money, specific status symbols, Scrooge McDuck, Miami, Dubai.
There are those rapid-fire pop culture references, that boastful, kind of aggressive tone.
And then, crucially, the context.
Yeah.
The release date, yeah, but especially that original title, Till Debt Do Us Apart.
So what does all that mixed together tell us about the viewpoint in this song?
Well, it paints a picture of someone absolutely consumed by getting rich, right?
Totally.
Using this really potent, almost sacred language of marriage to describe it.
But with that original title in mind, it's undercut by this sense that it could all fall apart, that the whole thing depends on staying rich and avoiding debt.
Yeah. It uses all the bragging and the references to build this world where the bag is everything. But maybe it's a world built on shaky ground.
It's a really vivid snapshot, isn't it? Prioritizing money above all else, presented with a ton of confidence, but with that hint of pressure, maybe even anxiety lurking underneath, especially knowing about till debt do us apart.
It really shows how you can take cultural symbols, weddings, cartoons, brands, and twist them to express this very specific, very materialist point of view.
So yeah, we've taken quite the deep dive into these sources for Married to the Bag. We looked at that core metaphor, unpacked the lyrics, the money focus, the references, and layered in that key context about the release, and wow, that original title.
It's a really interesting example of a song taking a powerful idea like marriage and just completely mapping it onto achieving wealth. And using this mix of celebratory but also kind of harsh language to do it.
Definitely. So here's maybe something to think about as you go forward, reflecting on this song and what we found in the sources. If this marriage to the bag really is conditional, if it only lasts until debt comes along, like that original title suggests, what does that really say about the kind of security or maybe the happiness you can actually find in that relationship?
Compared to, say, a traditional marriage.
Right. Is this pursuit of wealth, as shown in these lyrics, ultimately about finding joy? Or is it more about constantly fighting off the opposite of the bag? Fighting off financial failure, something to chew on,